Welcome to EngloStories. Today we have a special tale that will help you improve your English while enjoying a classic story. The Golden Goose is a famous fairy tale written by the brothers Grimm, Jacob, and Wilhelm Grimm, who collected and published it in the early 1800s. These German brothers gathered stories from oral traditions and published them in their collection called Children's and Household Tales. This particular story teaches us about kindness, generosity, and how sometimes the person who seems least likely to succeed might be the one who triumphs in the end. The story follows a young man who is considered foolish by his family, but whose kind heart leads him to an extraordinary adventure involving a magical golden goose. His simple actions set off a chain of events that lead to unexpected fortune and happiness. Are you ready to discover how this unusual golden bird changes his life forever? Now let's begin the story. Long ago, in a small village surrounded by dense forests, there lived a woodcutter with his 3 sons. The family was not wealthy and worked hard every day to earn their living. The eldest 2 sons were considered clever and hard-working by everyone in the village. They helped their father cut wood in the forest and were very practical in their approach to life. However, the youngest son, whose name was Simpleton, was quite different from his brothers. People in the village thought he was foolish and odd because he didn't always follow the normal ways of doing things. He was often quiet, preferring to observe the world around him rather than join in conversations. His family frequently made fun of him and gave him the hardest, least pleasant tasks to do. Their small cottage stood at the edge of the village, with smoke always rising from the chimney and tools leaning against the outer walls. Inside, the home was simple but clean, with wooden furniture and a large fireplace where they cooked their meals. Each morning, the father and his sons would prepare for a day of cutting wood in the forest, packing simple lunches of bread and cheese. The surrounding forest was ancient and mysterious, with towering trees that blocked much of the sunlight. Local villagers often spoke of strange happenings deep within the woods, but few were brave enough to venture far from the marked paths. One day, the father gathered his sons and said, "The forest is full of work for us. I need each of you to help cut wood." He gave the eldest son an axe and some food, saying, "Take this good bread and wine. You'll need strength for your work today." The eldest son entered the forest confidently, swinging his axe over his shoulder. As he walked along the path, he came across an old gray-haired man who greeted him politely. "Good morning, young woodcutter," said the old man. "Would you share a little of your food and drink with me? I am very hungry and thirsty." The eldest son looked at the old man with disdain. "If I give you my food, I'll have nothing for myself," he replied coldly. "Find your own food." Soon after, as the eldest son began chopping a tree, his axe slipped. The sharp blade cut deeply into his arm. The pain was so intense that he had to return home without any wood. The next day, the second son went into the forest. Like his brother, he carried good bread and wine from his father. And just like before, he met the same old man who asked for some food and drink. "I barely have enough for myself," said the second son rudely. "Go away." He too continued walking, ignoring the old man's request. Shortly after, while cutting a tree, the second son's axe bounced off the trunk and struck his leg. Limping and in pain, he also returned home empty-handed. Finally, it was Simpleton's turn. "Father," said Simpleton, "I would like to go and cut wood too." His father and brothers laughed. "You? "You'll only hurt yourself," they mocked, but Simpleton insisted. With a sigh, his father said, "Fine, but you'll learn your lesson." Unlike his brothers, Simpleton was given only dry bread and sour beer for his journey. As Simpleton walked through the forest, he too met the old gray-haired man. "Good morning," said the old man kindly. "Could you share some of your food and drink with me? I'm very hungry and thirsty." Simpleton smiled warmly. "I only have dry bread and sour beer," he explained, "but you're welcome to share it with me." He sat down on a log and opened his pack, offering the simple meal to the stranger. When they had finished eating, the old man's eyes twinkled. "Because you have been kind and shared willingly when others refused, I will give you a gift. Go to that old tree over there and cut it down. You'll find something special at its roots." Simpleton thanked the old man and walked to the tree that had been pointed out to him. With careful, steady strokes of his axe, he began to chop at the trunk. The tree wasn't very thick, and soon it started to sway before crashing to the ground with a loud thud that echoed through the forest. Just as the old man had promised, there at the roots of the fallen tree was something extraordinary. A goose! But this was no ordinary bird. Its feathers gleamed with the unmistakable shine of pure gold. Each feather caught the sunlight and reflected it brilliantly, creating a dazzling display of light in the quiet forest clearing. Simpleton could hardly believe his eyes. Carefully, he reached out and picked up the golden goose. The bird didn't struggle or try to fly away, but sat calmly in his arms. Remembering his task to bring wood home, Simpleton gathered some logs, tucked them under one arm, and held the golden goose securely with his other arm. As evening approached, Simpleton decided to spend the night at an inn before returning home. The innkeeper had 3 daughters who were fascinated by the beautiful golden goose when they saw Simpleton enter with it. That night, while Simpleton slept, the eldest daughter crept into his room, wanting to pluck just one golden feather for herself. The moment her fingers touched the goose, she found herself stuck. No matter how hard she pulled, she couldn't free her hand from the bird's golden feathers. Soon after, the second daughter came looking for her sister, and without thinking, grabbed her to pull her away. Instantly, she too became stuck. Not long after, the third daughter arrived and, despite seeing her sister's predicament, couldn't resist touching the beautiful golden bird. With that touch, she also became stuck to her sister, and now all 3 girls were attached to the goose and to each other, unable to break free. The next morning, Simpleton woke up, picked up the golden goose, and continued his journey, seemingly unaware that the 3 daughters of the innkeeper were stuck to it. As they walked through the village, people stared in amazement at the strange procession. A young man carrying a golden goose, followed by 3 young women who appeared to be holding on to each other. A priest saw them on the road and called out, "Shame on you, girls! Why are you chasing after this young man?" He reached out to pull the youngest daughter away, but as soon as he touched her shoulder, he found himself stuck as well and had to join the peculiar parade. Not far along, they met the church sexton, who, seeing the priest running behind the girls, grabbed the priest's sleeve to stop him. Immediately, he too became attached. Now 5 people were following Simpleton and his golden goose through the countryside. 2 farmers who had been working in the fields saw this strange sight and ran over to help. When they touched the sexton to pull him away, they joined the growing line. Now 7 people were stuck together, running behind Simpleton, unable to break free and causing quite a commotion wherever they went. Simpleton, however, remained calm and continued walking, the Golden Goose tucked safely under his arm. Eventually, Simpleton and his unusual procession arrived at the castle of a king whose daughter had never laughed. The king had promised that whoever could make the princess laugh would marry her. Many had tried and failed, but when the princess looked out of her window and saw Simpleton walking calmly with 7 people stuck together behind him, she burst into loud laughter. The king, true to his word, gave Simpleton permission to marry his daughter. The strange spell of the Golden Goose was broken, and everyone who had been stuck was finally free. Simpleton and the princess were married in a grand ceremony. The once mocked, foolish son had found happiness and fortune beyond what anyone could have imagined, proving that kindness and a good heart are more valuable than cleverness or practicality. This wonderful story of the Golden Goose teaches us some important life lessons. First, it shows us that kindness to others, especially those in need, often brings unexpected rewards. While Simpleton's brothers were selfish and rude, he shared what little he had and was blessed with the magical Golden Goose. The tale also reminds us not to judge people by appearances or by what others say about them. Though everyone thought Simpleton was foolish, he proved to be the wisest of all through his good heart. Finally, the story tells us that happiness and success often come not to those who seek it directly, but to those who live with honesty and compassion. Did you enjoy learning English with this classic fairy tale? If so, please like this video and share it with friends who are also learning English. Leave a comment below telling us which character you liked best and why. Follow EngloStories as we upload a story daily so that you can look forward to our next video. Together, let's improve your English through the magic of storytelling. See you tomorrow.